to the Carson City Culture and Tourism Authority Board of Directors meeting. Today is Monday, December 8th, 2025, and it is 4:01 p.m. We are at the Carson City Community Center, Robert Bob Kroll Boardroom. Can I get a roll call?
Andrew Reno,
Here.
Stacy Giomi,
Here.
Garrett Lapierre, and Damon Both.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Great. Can everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, next we will open it up for public comment. Hearing none, we will move on to item 5, approval of minutes from November 10th, 2025 CTA board meeting. Do we have any additions? Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the minutes from the November 10th, 2025 CTA board meeting.
Can I get a second? I'll second.
I wasn't there, so I don't
That's
feel
all right.
comfortable.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Hearing none, we will move on to, let's see here. Okay, we're going to move on to the consent agenda, item 6 and 7. Would any member of the public like anything pulled for further discussion? Any member of the board? Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that'll be the end of the consent agenda. Next, we will move on to item 9. Dave, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you.
Thank you, Chair. For the record, David Peterson, Executive Director with Visit Carson City. So I'm very pleased we have Mr. Mike Heitkamp on. He is the owner of Sparrow Lockpicks, who brought the 2025 Raka Laka Bang Bang event to the historic Nevada State Prison. We have the team here from the prison as well. I'm just going to turn it over to you, Mike, and let you take it from here, if that's okay. And then Lydia, will you? Yeah, okay, good. We're good. Can you hear us, Mike? Mike, can you unmute yourself on your end?
I've got a little bit of a weak Wi-Fi, so I hope I'm coming through okay, guys.
Perfect. Yeah, Mike, I'm going to let you take it away and kind of talk us through the event earlier this year.
Yeah, fantastic. I appreciate the board letting me chat with today, and also the support that this event got from Visit Carson City. So earlier this year in September, this took about a year to plan. We held a very large security event at the historic prison in Carson City, which Carson City is a fantastic place to visit, but on top of it, for what we were trying to do to have a venue like that historical prison there, really made it a standout event. And we had participants fly in from literally around the world to join us in Carson City for several days of training. And I don't know what slide you're seeing, but perhaps you're seeing the first one there, where you can see our company logo tattooed across someone's fingers. And that was even done within the prison, where we were running a tattoo shop that was run by Rice Street Tattoos, straight out of Carson City. So this was something that supported a lot of individual businesses and got a lot of attention for Carson City. So I'll just chat about what it was. It was clearly a multi-day training event, one-of-a-kind venue to have that prison there. We even used the shooting range just a little bit outside of the city. Again, wonderful facility, lots of photos taken and posted of it. We organized lots of food with the different vendors, from Busboy, from Old Reds 365, where we took almost 80 participants there for dinner. We used the different venues like the Plaza Event Center. We actually stayed at the Plaza Hotel. I don't know if anyone is familiar with Christy from the Plaza Event Center. Absolutely fantastic lady, run a great event for us, hosting that there. And the layout, once you kind of get into Carson City, this event really came together well. And I have a saying that the way things start is the way things end. And I treat this in business. And I got to say, when I flew out the first time to meet with Maurice from the prison, Stu from Visit Carson, things started out very well. And that is what drove us to put the investment into having the event in Carson City. Fantastic landscape, fantastic people. And that has reverberated through all of the participants, the social media posts. And when I say social media posts, like when we were doing newsletters, if we switch over to the next slide, it is kind of what did this event do for Carson? And I know that's what many people want to hear. Like Carson did a lot for us, but what we did is, again, you had participants that flew in from as far as Singapore to visit this. You had from almost every state, you had participants coming in. We did email blasts that would hit roughly 750,000 people. Then we continued after doing promotional email blasts as well, because when we did one in October, clearly there is the haunted house that runs in the prison, and we wanted to keep pushing for Carson City and the various things that it does. And we included that haunted house and told people that they have to go visit that fantastic venue. Other great things that came out of it. I don't know if anyone is familiar with a magazine called Recoil Magazine, but the editor came to the actual event itself. He took many photos, and at the end of the event, it was a full-size article that he is writing about the event being held in Carson City, and that will be released in the January print issue. And that's a big deal. It's one thing to be able to get it into the online issue, but to be able to actually get it in the print issue is very hard these days. Even post follow-up, we had another magazine. I'm sorry, I wish I knew what it was, but it was a trade show specific magazine, and maybe Stu will know the name of it because they reached out to us about holding unique events in special venues and things that would be on a smaller basis. I think we all know that the size of event you can hold in Carson City needs to be something special, something on a scale. It's not going to compete with something that is 5,000 people. There isn't the structure for it. And that's what this article was all about, is where do you hold these smaller, unique events? So we did press with that. And then there's another industry website that's quite big called Soldier Systems. We had several posts in that, and it was calling it one of the must-attend events. So certainly online through a presence, Carson City, the event itself, you're into probably 1.5 million to 2 million eyeballs seeing what happened. And that just comes from 80 people visiting Carson City. And that's what this event itself, in terms of my company and what we try and do, it is not about the 80 people that come to Carson. It's about the hundreds of thousands that look at the social media posts, the follow-up, the email blasts that go, I wish I was there. And that is what we try and do. It's really not worth it for me to run this and focus on just the 80 people, which I clearly do. I want them to have a great time. That's what the follow-up is. But I want it to be the hundreds of thousands of people that feel like they missed out and they want to do it. And we do get that. So from everything from scouting, we had the equivalent of over 250 nights in hotels, over 750 meals in Carson City, over 20 prison tattoos done. And I'm sure you can all read the different places that we supported, but it would be the prison, Amador, Reds, Busboy, Carson City Barbecue, Plaza Hotel, the Event Plaza, U-Haul, Enterprise, Carson City Storage, Delta Saloon in Virginia City, Party Rentals. It's an endless list. In total, we probably put a bit over $100,000 into the Carson City directly, and that is from Sparrows. If you add up what all the individual participants spent, you can certainly add quite a bit more to that. We can go on to the next slide there, and maybe you can see some exciting photos of what we did there. So Reno EOD squad was nice enough to lend us our Spot robot. That's the little robot that you see under one of the banners that we have there. Those are our various sponsors. We did have clearly Visit Carson City was posted on the main gates when people would arrive. It was on the back of the t-shirts that everyone was handed out. It was in all the newsletter blasts, and it was hung up individually on banners like that. We had TNT Rescue come in, so we were actually physically cutting vehicles open in a safe manner in front of the prison, doing vehicle extraction work. We had shotgun breaching that we were doing on the range the day before. We taught in the various areas, we ate in the prison, and overall, like the reviews of the event from, I think you can talk with the board of NSPS, they were thrilled to have us there. I think we made a good positive impact in the city, and we represented it well. And it is a great, unique environment, and that's what we're looking for. And we can go to another slide of photos there. If you want to go to the next one, we show a little bit more. And you can kind of see in the bottom left corner, that is impressioning that we were teaching, which is one of the skills we were doing. We did CQC work. We had some certain vehicles. We put banners up throughout the prison. And we even had a little fun teaching people how to spit fire. And it seems very chaotic at times, but I can tell you that it's highly organized behind the scenes. What looks like chaos is actually a very difficult, well-run event that goes quite smoothly, even though people think it's a little off hinge. It's kind of designed to be like that, to challenge people, to make them work through problems and solve things on their own, which is the big thing that we try and get out of this. I look for a few things. I want to challenge people and have them achieve goals on their own. And the other big thing is I want to scan and I want to see absolutely no one on their phones. I want everyone engaging through human interaction all weekend long, taking photos, yes, sharing them, yes. But if you're on your phone, I've created a problem. I need people to just be engaged and attentive the whole time and in an exciting environment. And I think we achieved that with Carson City. It was a great couple days, and we look forward to organizing something and coming back. And that is my little pitch on it. So thank you very much to the board for hearing about our event and sponsoring it. And I think that we threw one heck of an event together. It was a very good time. And if anyone has questions, I'm more than happy to answer them.
Go ahead, Stacy.
Mike, Stacy Giommi, from the board, just, is the participation by the participants, for lack of a better term, is registration sort of a package deal, or are there pieces of it that, they sort of buy a la carte depending on what they want to do, or is it, all for one pricing? Just mostly out of curiosity.
It's an all for one. I try and make it very simple. So literally people buy the ticket and they're done. I've got them covered from there. So you land at the airport. We had shuttle buses running from the airport that would get you to the Plaza Hotel. You showed up to the Plaza. We literally handed you your room key that was set up, and then we took you to dinner. So if you wanted to run it on a budget, like the second you paid for the package, you were taken care of. That covers your room, your food, your drinks that are water, and then after that, and then even a bus on the way back to the airport. So it's an all-in deal. And it's nice in that what we try and do, like the dinners are a big part of it. I don't know how many conventions you've gone to, but usually the failure of a convention is the fact that you show up, you walk around, and then everyone disappears. And if you travel there on your own, you don't know who to eat dinner with or who to hang out with. By having this group forced to have lunches together, dinners together, go for a drink after, you really develop a bond, so that the idea of having the dinner built in is purposeful, so that, this group becomes a gang at the end, that they know each other.
Yeah, no, I like that. That was going to be my comment and compliment, in fact, because for the reasons you said, you'll go to conventions often, and people will break off into groups, and as you said, you can't do that with a convention of 3,000 people, obviously. So keeping it at the right
No,
size where it feels like a team event, basically, that you've created this unity. I think there's a lot to be said for that. So very interesting. Thank you.
thank you.
Any other questions for Mike? Mike, do you want to, I don't want to get way ahead, but obviously we want to keep this thing rolling. We want to grow it, build it, see this come back every year. So, Mike, do you want to just give a little heads up in terms of what will probably be coming back to you all, the board, on a multi-year sponsorship agreement, after the first of the year, but just where you see the event going forward? Just, I figure you're here, we've got the board. If you don't mind, just talking a little bit about next year and beyond.
Yep, 100%. So I think as some people on the inside know, is I even rented a storage unit there. So I have left a lot of what we dragged out there. I've got it sitting in a storage locker, and this goes from our breaching door to all our various tools, which is quite a bit. So I made the plan to return already. The one hiccup I have is the Plaza Hotel that we stayed at is planning a renovation, but they're not sure what the renovation details are. So it's making it hard for me to actually maintain a block of rooms there. They won't allocate a block to us. But across the street is the Frontier, and I'm in talks with the Frontier right now about getting a block of rooms there. And that's mainly because the Plaza Event Center is pretty much the largest one that there is that works for us in terms of location near a hotel, near the prison. So that's why we're focused on that. So with the Plaza, not sure whether or not we can get rooms there. That really caps me at a certain rate, because the Frontier is, we're looking at about 80 rooms to 90 rooms that I can get from them. The plan is to grow this to be probably about 200 people. And that is something where I feel that I can still put on a spectacular event, and that everyone feels like they get individual high-level training. If I increase it beyond that, I think we can all agree that it starts to drop off. And that is not what I'm looking for. I want this to be known as a premier event that is very hard to get into. And I think that ends up building the myth and the legend of what it is. So I think that what we'll do at the next one here is we're going to do a much larger range day. I've already been speaking with the people in charge of the range in terms of coordinating something where we take over the entire range. We will certainly be back at the prison. That has already begun, looking at the dates that will work for renting that. And I would love to involve other infrastructure around Carson City, because the larger I make it and the more areas that we can go to, the more fantastic it will make the event. And it's just the logistics of moving people around. But the restaurants are there, the vendors are there, the people are there, and that is the plan. So I think we're looking at September 17 to 20 to make a return. I don't know exactly what the numbers will be. That's dependent on how many hotel rooms I can get, and the logistics of getting people from those hotel rooms to the event center on a bus to the prison or to the range and various things like that. But the plans are underway, and that would, the first one is the hardest. So I hope to do this as a multi-year event, and that we can plan the next few and grow it to this 200 people. And if someone is going to make a venue that can easily fit 500 for me, and I think I'm going off the top of my head here, I think it's Casino Fandango that has the larger of the ballrooms there. And maybe there is something possible with that to grow the numbers that come down there. But again, my concern would be the quality of the event overall. As long as I can get enough instructors, enough things to do. Like range, I know we can blow the doors off the range, literally. Like the range day, we could do a massive range day, and I could have, probably 300 people shooting at the range with the resources we have. But then when you get into the smaller classes that we do that are quite technical, You can't teach 300 people in a hands-on environment. So that's a very long way of saying that we are planning things. We are returning. We do want to do this as multi-year. We've been reaching out to the resources, and if anyone has ideas of unique venues in there that would be interesting for the type of training we do, feel free to reach out to us.
Thank you, Mike. And Mike, I just wanted to clarify, you mentioned the Frontier. Did you mean the Federal Hotel? When you're talking about the hotel across the way is the Federal from the Plaza?
Good correction. Thank you very much. The
Okay.
Federal.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I mean, I'm excited about this, you guys. You know, we talk a lot about sustaining events, building the events, growing the event, and I like the idea if we can flip, 100 out at the range while 100 are at the prison. And just so you know, Mike, I don't know if you can see the room, but Lucia, Mo are all in the audience here, in front of us. So I think there's a way, to flip flop to make this work, with the 200 people at least initially.
Can we help with an RFP for rooms? I mean, can we?
Absolutely. Oh, yeah.
that? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, like we'll do for all, normal. But I'm thinking, I just thought if we're looking at, if Mike wants to go 3 or 5 years, I want the board just a multi-year agreement. I want to bring something back so we can kind of chat this out. But yeah, I mean, if we can get to that 200, I'm not sure, Mike, I'd love to go 3, 4, 500. That would be amazing. But then we run into the challenge of, how many hotels do we need to make up that number of potential rooms for us? So.
And I'll tell you, it's not just from someone that, well, clearly you do this all the time and you'll know it. It's the buses getting from just the airport into Carson City. If you do 500 people, that's a lot of bus trips. So, and a bus handles, count on it being 50 people on the bus, and I've got to get them from the hotel to the range, and I got to do this all on time. So if I do 200 people, I could do it with 2 buses and do 2 trips. The second you get more than 200 people, then I've got to figure out more buses. And I think you get into this, one thing where you have more people and things are going up, and then you hit here and all of a sudden the resources force me back down. So I think 200 is probably a real sweet spot where I can logistically move people around. I can logistically have people at the range. And I think even, Maurice and Lucia will say like 100 people at the prison. That's a significant, that's about the right number, just in terms of washrooms and everything else.
They're nodding their head at the 100 people. So yeah, no, I'm with you. And I'm even thinking Andrew may have some thoughts on busing, just with what he does at the Nugget or in Sparks, but that's my worry too.
Yeah, we do have
How-
plenty of options, but
Okay.
I mean, you sound well thought out on your numbers logistically, so I don't think anyone needs to
Mhm.
talk you in going past what you want to go past, because you seem really well thought out.
Agreed.
And
Yeah.
David and Stu can always give people rides too. I mean, I think just a few trips.
I can
between
I can
the
fit
airport
one
out to the
person in my
range,
car.
I think it's, I think
Stacy has a
it's a
big
lot of
fancy
options, a
truck.
lot of
I mean,
options there.
Yeah, that holds 20
yeah,
people.
the bed on my truck works too.
Yeah.
I love the idea. We'll get Stu in a U-Haul and we'll just
Yeah, there you
jam it full of people. Just a big roll up in the back. We'll call it additional.
If in the
training.
minivan anyways.
The problem is they might keep me in the U-Haul.
No, that's awesome. Okay. Well, thank you, Mike. Any questions? Any other questions for Mike? Okay. So we're going to continue working obviously with Mike and get something back in front of you all here after the first of the year, on a long-term basis. And Mo, you guys, Lucia, thank you for opening up the doors. Do you guys want to come up and say anything, please? If you do. Yeah. You'll have to come up. You'll have to come up. Yep. Just identify yourself. There. Take that last one from Stu. Yeah.
Hey, this is Zach with Dark Corner. It's good seeing you again, man.
Hey, Zach.
Yeah, I just want to say I'm Zach. I'm the technical director with Dark Corner. We put on the haunted house there at the prison, and we had partnered with Sparrows, and they used some of our facilities, and we provided atmospherics, fog, and lighting, and that kind of thing, so that they could run different scenarios You ran prisoner scenarios, didn't you? Like prisoner extractions? I'm looking at this like he can see me.
Yeah. Mike, did you hear him?
Yes. Mike?
Mike, can you hear us?
I don't think.
I can hear you guys. It's breaking up a little bit, to be honest with you.
Well, he asked us if he could use some of our setup because it lended a unique training opportunity for his people. And so, we took a day and opened up our facility for them to use. And I thought that was a unique crossover between events there at the prison. So we're looking forward to doing a little bit more with them and deepening our partnership with them for that event so we can provide something that is very unique to Carson City.
Appreciate that. I think that's awesome. So hats off to both of you.
Mhm.
Thank you. Thank you, Zach. Appreciate that. Awesome.
All right. Great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Mo, Lucia, any comments?
I'll
Okay.
follow up with you because we've got a neat idea.
Roger that. Zach heard you. All right. If there are no other questions, we'll go ahead and move on to, thank you again, Mike. Really appreciate it.
Thank
He's-
you, Mike.
He's traveling right now. I don't know if you're at the airport or in between, so thank you for making yourself available to us. Okay, I think he dropped. All right, let's
Sorry.
go. Okay, thank you, Mike. Take care.
No, I'm here, but all right, thank you guys. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to reach out. Everyone's got my email. If you want to follow up with me at any time, I'm easily reached. Again, thank you for the time of the board. Thank you for Visit Carson City. I'm gonna head off the call now. Any other questions?
No, you're good, I think. It's all you.
All righty. Have a great night, everybody.
Thank you, Mike.
Later.
Okay, next we are going to move on to item 10 for discussion only, presentation and discussion regarding the third annual Mark Twain Days Festival events held October 16th through 19, 2025. And welcome, Eric Brooks.
Thank you very much. I'll turn things over to Executive Director Spike McGuire, the presenting organization for Mark Twain Days 25.
Spike McGuire, for the record, Executive Director of Brewery Arts Center. So we had several major changes from the previous year, this year for Mark Twain Days, just after talking to various partners, various venues. One thing that we really thought from the 2024 festival is that it was a bit spread out. We had 105 events over 3 days. All of the content was quality in 2024, but it was spread a bit thin for the audience. So we wanted to focus it down, keep a tighter footprint. We had to make some pivots this year. The original plan was to focus on the downtown corridor and really drive people to downtown, make everything walkable, go from McFadden Plaza, have a bunch of stuff on the Capitol grounds, and then have a lot happening on Carson Street. But due to a permitting issue that we found out about at the very last minute, about 5 to 6 weeks before the event, we had to pivot, and we just kind of put most things at Brewery Arts Center because we knew that there was nothing that could stop us there. So we really focus on the literary arts in this. We think that that is, being the art center, being the presenters, and focusing on Mark Twain. Literary arts is really the crossover there. Virginia City was involved this year as well. They did most of their events on Friday because that coincided with the Twain train put on by the V&T Railway. That drew over 200 people. That was really one of the main events. We had Reno's Poet Laureate Jesse James Ziegler. We had musicians Josiah Knight and Christian McNamara, a couple real old-timey local musicians to set that vibe. And we also had Brad McMullen, who is the Nevada State Folklife Specialist or the State Folklorist. Had refreshments, souvenir glasses, and then once they were in Virginia City Tourism Authority had shuttles running between venues to just get everyone around town and make things smooth. And then we really focused our events in Carson City, primarily on Saturday. We did have events every day. We started out Thursday. We had Connection Central, which is something that we do every month. but we coordinated with them to have their guest speaker be Dave Moore, who is a former reporter at the Gold Hill News, whose slogan is Mark Twain never worked here. But just a really cool, if you're not familiar with the Gold Hill News, just a quick overview. They had a few issues like 100 years ago and then went out of print for a long time. And they brought it back from 1974 to 1978. And it was just this really cool counterculture literary movement that took place in Virginia City. So that was a great tie-in. And we made that also the opening reception for Mark Twain. So we had over 100 people come out, which was really cool because they, had never heard of Gold Hill News, and it's a really cool story to tell, and it really shows the power and importance of what that paper accomplished in such a short time. Another big change this year I should have mentioned was we did new dates. Previously, the festival had been on Mother's Day weekend. You should never underestimate how much people love their mothers. That really, I think that slowed us down a bit, so we chose to move it to October. We kind of analyzed all of the events going on in Carson City, and that seemed like the best window to not interfere with any of the other great stuff that we have going on here. So the dates were October 16th through 19th. I will say one of the biggest faux pas of the festival is the company that puts up the over the street banners every year. Apparently when they review the banners and then ask me about changes, I'm told they just scanned for the numbers to see if the dates need to change. Well, the previous Mark Twain banner just said Mother's Day weekend. So they put up a banner that said Mother's Day weekend a week before this festival, and I called literally every day to try and get them to take down the sign or change the sign or just take down the sign and have no sign at all. I thought would have been better. Unfortunately, they left it up for the entire time, which I know was a definitely... People saw it, threw people off because I was delivering all of we made programs, that had all of the events, and we took them to all the downtown businesses. And a lot of them were like, oh, what's going on? We thought this was on Mother's Day. So that was the one kind of big miss of the festival, but we did have a lot of big hits during the festival. There were historic walking tours along the Kit Carson Trail. We had donkey-driven wagon rides. Again, that's a good lesson. Never underestimate how much people love asses. The Downtown Business Association did a treasure and scavenger hunt, which a lot of people really loved. We gave out free Mark Twain books at the BAC. We had a big open air fair. Like I said, we made the main Carson City Day Saturday because we really thought it would help if VC focused on one day and Carson focused on another day. So we did a big open air fair at Brewery Arts Center. We had the Visit Carson City stage with a couple of nice Visit Carson City banners on it. We had Will Hook from KNVC spinning records, and then that was mixed with poets coming on once an hour. We had a different local Carson City-based poet, so that was really great. We had about 40 vendors at that event. We were giving away free Mark Twain books. Also that day, there was the Harvest Train. God, it's so hard to say words like Twain. The Harvest Train, not to be confused with the Twain Train, if I may explain. That was at the Nevada State Railroad Museum. Friday night, we did a Chautauqua with Hope Academy, which was a really cool, just a fundraiser for the Hope Academy. If you're not familiar with Chautauqua, it's basically you select a character from history and embody and portray them. So they had students. I think the youngest student was maybe 6. The oldest student, I think, was about 18. So that was just really great. And McAvoy Lane, world-renowned Twain, I won't even say impersonator, I will say embodier, because he is as close to Twain as you get. He was there with the kids. We also had McAvoy Lane again with Kim Harris on Friday. I'm sorry. Hope Academy was Thursday night. Friday night, we had Twain and Boulay together again, featuring McAvoy Lane and Kim Harris. Yeah, so lots of really, really great events. We took the lead on the organic social media, and then Lydia and KPS3 assisted on tons of levels, including the webpage management on Visit Carson City, getting the paid socials going. We also partnered with Colo, KUNR, KNVC, Carson Now, the Sierra Nevada Ally, and the Nevada Business Magazine. And the event was featured on the front page of the Appeal on Saturday. And then the partnership, of course, with Virginia City Tourism had a great help in the marketing, because that was independent ad buys and social media strategies, which led to live coverage of the event on Friday up there. So that was really cool. Overall, very successful. Many stakeholders and partners had huge turnouts through the weekend. workshops that we had Saturday in 2 locations at BAC. I think we really saw a great increase in attendance because everything was so close. You know, you just had to go back and forth between 2 buildings. So tracked attendance went from under 100 to 945. Yeah, and like I said, having them close together really let people go back and forth. We had several in the brewery building and also several in the performance hall. So as you were going back and forth through the open air fair and catching the poets and the DJ on the Visit Carson City stage, just really a great vibe. And I think that keeping that tighter core this year is really going to help us expand. And I think that focusing on that the literary arts is really what's going to draw people in. We've already confirmed Willie Vlotten as a headliner for 2026. If you're not familiar with Willie Vlotten, every year the Library of Congress selects a book from every state to feature. And this year, Willie was featured as the Nevada book. So he's not only incredibly successful on a Nevada level, but a national level as well. So that should be a great draw to get people coming out to the festival. Another big win was the Lowbrow Social, formerly the Bow Tie Ball. We got a lot of feedback that people didn't want to wear bow ties, despite us telling them repeatedly they did not have to wear bow ties. So we thought we would move away from both the words bow ties and ball, which implies more formal. So we called it the Lowbrow Social. We did that at the Nevada State Museum again. And a lot like last year, we had poets and solo musicians and artists spread out through the Nevada State Museum. So just a really fun way to move people through, see everything they have going on at the museum and really celebrate all of that Nevada history. We had the Carson Street Ragtime Band in the main concourse to really play that Twain era music. So that was a lot of fun. Nashville Social Club did a great job catering the event. We wanted a Southern theme. Because Mark Twain in a past life spent a lot of time in the South, of course, before being born here in Carson City. And Minden Mill came in with a special huckleberry cocktail. So that helped us at the bar and was just a great homage to Twain. The survey went out late, which can happen. So we only had 8 responses, but they were all positive, all good feedback. And that's going to be a big focus next year, is just making sure that those surveys get out ASAP. Questions?
Do you think the banner thing affected your attendance this year?
I really do think it had a pretty negative effect on the attendance. Just because, like I said, I was handing out the programs, and so many people I talked to were like, "Oh, we thought that was Mother's Day." Like, yeah. So, I do think that hurt us because people see those banners. Those banners do work for sure. Like, yeah.
You bet.
A couple of questions and a comment on this document. I don't know who produced that. Was that us or?
So we're going to let that go, Stacy, because it was, we're just going to let that go because of
If I don't want to let it go, Dave.
how it was run. Unfortunately, it took the entire universe of what we have with Datafy.
Because there's
instead
some
of-
numbers in here that. seem
Correct. Yeah. So,
outside
that's trying to do this from
Don't pass
afar.
the sniff test.
Yeah, that I just want to pretend for now that wasn't
Okay.
in the packet because
Easy to do.
yeah. So thank you. I was going to make mention of that. Thank you.
The other question I have is kind of a comment. The literary focus I think is a good idea because there's nothing like that around here, so I think that's a great idea. Rural Nevada, particularly Elko's well known for cowboy poetry, and I don't know if there's a way to make a connection there. Perhaps a cowboy poetry reader can come in, taking advantage of that. I've been to that event in Elko, and it's nuts in Elko when that happens. I mean, room rates are through the roof, and if you can't even find a room unless you.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a natural tie, just to since you're talking about that, to have, maybe a poet from there, maybe not as a headliner, but once a year, kind of make that tie.
Yeah, absolutely. That is, that's kind of the vision, is we want to grow it to something to that cowboy poetry status.
May not reach that status, but.
Well, it might
But
not
maybe you can.
it might not in
Maybe you can.
2026, but
I'm
we're
just-
holding out hope
I'm
for
all about trying to be
2027.
realistic, because I don't know that we can get there, but
Yeah.
Many years ago, back in the mid '70s, I worked with a guy by the name of Travis T. Hip.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if he wrote for the Gold Hill News. He was a syndicated radio guy. He lived in Gold Hill.
Yeah.
But he was totally a counterculture, leftover hippie, in the 70s, it wasn't left over so much as it was still current. It was not really left over. He's since passed away, but yeah, yeah. So everything that was good. And one more thing, just want to compliment you on the Christmas tree lighting. The festival was well done, well attended, beautiful downtown event. In my mind, one of the premier holiday events in Carson. It's just a great event.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Yeah, congrats on doing a great job on that.
Just real quick, if I can touch on that cowboy poetry thing one more time. So the Nevada State Folklorist I was talking about, Brad McMullen, he used to be a director of the Cowboy Poetry Festival. So that was kind of part of trying to get him into the cut, was bringing him in to be the MC this year. So we actually had a great meeting with him during the festival. He has committed to being one of the primary organizers of the event next year. So I think that is going to be a great way to get some of those contacts of those
Very
literary
cool.
figures and poets and musicians from cowboy poetry.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Stacy had some good ideas. I have one I'll throw out there for you. If you could figure out a theater production that's around Mark Twain and have a play, whether it's one play at nighttime or if you have a few shows that run throughout the couple days of the event. This year's event I think was much better. The foundation layout of it was
Yeah.
better for sure. Easier to understand what the heck was going on and where you
Totally.
need to be. But I think if you could get a theater production in there, it hits the literary part of what you're talking about. There's some theater troupes here in town that may be able to put together a play like that. Who wouldn't want to see the adventures of Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn on stage?
100%. Yeah, we are definitely trying to push PPI as one of our resident theater companies, and we're trying to push them to do something Twain related. They are celebrating their 60th anniversary this year, so they happen to already be doing Arsenic and Old Lace over that weekend, which I forgot to even mention while I was doing this, but they did have great attendance for that. So I think if we had a Twain focus on the theater, it would really be a hit.
Thank you, Spike. If there are no more questions, I'll turn it back over to Andrew Reno.
I would just like to say on a personal note, like Stacy did, that I went to the Dark Corner Haunted Prison, and that was one of the coolest things ever in the history of pretty much the world. So yeah, so thank you for anyone who made anything happen for that. I went twice, and it was absolutely
I
fabulous.
went twice also.
Yeah.
Thank you, Spike. Next, item 11 for presentation and discussion regarding the Dark Prison Haunted House event held September 26th through November 1st, 2025.
Hello.
There you go.
Hello. My name is Guinevere Clark. I'm the VP of Operations for Dark Corner Creative, which is the company that puts on Dark Prison Haunted House. And we have our economic impact snapshot that's here on the screen. I have some printed versions for anyone who doesn't have one if you are interested. For those who don't know, in case you need the context, Dark Prison Haunted House is a haunted house located inside of the Nevada State Prison in Carson City. We operated for 17 nights from September 26th all the way to November 1st. And we are very grateful to be here in Carson City, first of all. This was our first full Halloween season here in Carson City. In previous years, we've been in downtown Reno. And this year was an incredible year for us. We had 15,460 people arrive, which is awesome. We gave out, here on the screen, you can see 175 of those were free tickets that we gave to different business owners.
Is that the haunted component sort of reaching in with the hand at the bottom? Is that what we're seeing?
Yeah, pretty much.
There was a hand that kept, look, see, it's, yeah.
We
it's
might
here.
have given you a
That's
haunted
very
document
talented.
that just comes with the
That's
territory.
very good to carry that over to the meeting. Good job.
Yeah, so we had over 15,000 attendees. 81.6% of those attendees were from out of town, meaning out of Carson City. We pulled those from zip codes of the ticket buyers themselves. We had attendees from 45 states and the UK attend our haunted house, which is incredible. We estimated that the average visitor to us spent around $39 just in tickets or buying merchandise or our food and drinks that we had on site. But we estimate that they spent more off-site with lodging, food and beverage, and gas. So we in total estimate that there was about $1 million of revenue to Carson City from different aspects of our out-of-town visitors alone, since we had quite a few of those. We also had 96 paid jobs across not just the 17 nights, but also considering positions that were part of building the haunted house before, tearing it down afterwards, or maintenance days, things like that. We had 96 paid positions and 5 volunteer jobs across that time periods, where we paid $162,000 in salaries for all of those positions. We were able to work with different food trucks. We had almost every night had a local food truck from Carson City on site that did pretty well. And we partnered with 7 local restaurants. One of the things that we did with our restaurants and our food trucks is that we had what we call midway games, which were carnival style games where people could win prizes. And one of those prizes were coupons or gift cards to local restaurants. So that was really successful for us and something that we really liked to do. We also collaborated with Carson City, the Carson Tahoe Health. We gave them a discount and we had hundreds of employees from Carson Tahoe Health visit us. We also had, not listed on this document, but we had a few private events. One of those private events, most notably, was the local Google data center had a private event with us, where we even gave them food that was catered by the Fox from downtown Carson City. As mentioned before, we partnered with Sparrow, where Brockalaka came and used our dynamic haunted house landscape to do some of their own events and activities. We also had about 10, maybe more, different publications in the media, from news to radio to social media influencers, whatever it may be. And then on top of that, we even partnered with Red Run Virginia City, where we did some cross promotion. We had a few of our actors go be zombies in their marathon, and then with the idea that people could run the marathon and then come visit the haunted house in the evening. And we saw that happened, and our actors really enjoyed that as well. Added to the ambiance of that. Overall, we saw a 63% increase in our ticket volume from 2024 when we were in downtown Reno. So it was incredibly successful for us to be here in Carson City and at the Nevada State Prison, which is such an incredible venue for us to be. Something that's also not listed on this document is that there is an organization called the Haunted House Association. They oversee and assist all of the haunted houses across the nation. We are a member of that association, and every year they release a top haunted houses across the country. We, for the first time ever, made that list as a platinum haunted house, which is the highest level you can get, alongside other haunted houses like 13th Door and Netherworld and things like that, which is awesome because not only is that a huge feat, but that means we are one of a handful of haunted houses from the West Coast to be on that list. And we're the only haunted house in the state of Nevada to be on that list. Not even the one in Universal in Las Vegas was on that list. So that's pretty cool for us as well. Yeah. So it's really cool to also have just Carson City be on that list as well, because it states Dark Prison Haunted House in the Nevada State Prison in Carson City, which is very cool. We did have 2 main challenges to our overall revenue this haunted house season. The first of which being our parking lot. We were able to add a dirt lot as an overflow parking lot, which added about 200 additional spaces. That significantly added to our ticket revenue, and we would not have been able to reach the 15,000 without that. But even then, we know we could do more, and we want to do more. And one of our restrictions in that is being able to have that parking with asphalt and with lighting and just a better, safer environment for our guests. And then additionally, oh yeah, especially keeping in mind 13 out of our 17 nights were almost completely sold out every single time slot. I would open up the time slot I would add 50 more literally an hour before our first time slot. And then by the time I check when we're open, it sold out immediately. Like we were selling out constantly. And we had on-site ticket sales as well, which was incredible. So if we could raise the capacity by being able to expand that parking lot, that would be huge. We could open up even more. And then after that, our other restriction is our fire code occupation restrictions, because we worked really closely with the state marshal to make sure that we were following the fire code and making sure we were only letting in the amount of people that we could every 5 minutes. And that's a huge restriction that if we're able to add a sprinkler system or some sort of fire suppression system, we'd be able to increase our numbers even more than that. And that's where our potential fix is for 2026. We would like to stay at the Nevada State Prison. We're working on that. We have a lot of big ideas. One of our big ideas is we want to add a 4th haunted house into the Nevada State Prison and a larger outdoor attraction to raise our numbers. But we can only do that if we get an expanded parking lot and a fire suppression system, so we can expand the amount of people that can be indoors, which helps us as a haunted house, but also helps all the other events that could happen in those same spaces at the Nevada State Prison, like Rakalaka and things like that. So that is something that we're looking forward to and looking to see how we can do that this 2026 season. We're really excited for it. If there are any questions, I'll take any questions right now, but also you can always reach out to us for questions and inquiries at info@darkcornerhaunt.com. We're really happy to answer any of those.
I got a couple questions real quick.
Yes.
What is your current capacity?
Our current capacity, we were at 125 people per 30 minutes was our total capacity by the end of the season.
Okay.
So it works off of a direct count of how many people are actually inside of a building. Exteriors, the state fire marshal's not particularly concerned with. It's a matter of how many people are actually inside the building.
And it's really complicated for us because people are only inside the building for up to 3 minutes at a time because they're walking through the haunted house.
Right.
And each section of the building, our current fire capacity is 50 people per that section. And we're spanned across 4 different sections. So that's 50 people per section.
So with you expanding into more sections, that's going to be able to raise your capacity?
Yes, if we expand, we are planning to expand into a whole other building if we're capable of doing that, and expanding our outdoor operations, adding more outdoor attractions so that people can stay outside as well. But that fire suppression system would allow us to even bring more people every 30 minutes. We could raise that 125 number.
Well, because I'll be honest with you, the reason I went twice is I took some of our executives the first time. And then when I went back to work Monday, I got ripped. They said, why didn't you invite us? So I had to go again. So I had to buy a bunch more tickets and go the second time. And it was great.
Yeah, thank you.
Do you plan on doing the halfway to Halloween event again?
Yes, we do plan on doing the halfway to Halloween event and possibly more events throughout the season if we can work it out. We're working closely with the Nevada State Prison to figure that out right now.
Okay. Impressive. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there, I guess for you, Mo, are there plans to I mean, is it realistic to be able to expand the sprinkler system? I know there's, state issues and I mean, it's a big ask and a big question. So I'm just wondering, are there plans? And if there are plans, What do they
Mo
look
White, Nevada State Prison Preservation Society, speaking to you tonight in my capacity as the president of that organization. It's a logistic nightmare. It can be done with the right amount of money and the right amount of influence.
do you know what that, I mean, are you at a point, I imagine there's SHPO issues, or have you gotten over those, or is that still an issue?
The SHPO issues really aren't that hard of a hurdle because one, portions of the building are already sprinkled.
Right.
They're mothballed. And then when it comes to modern protections of a building such as this, SHPO takes a very liberal view of the national park standards.
Gotcha.
So that we can protect these sort of buildings. But, so really, SHPO is not a hurdle. You just have to get the paperwork right. And then it's just a matter of money.
So it's cost and an antiquated system probably, because you're not going to be able to just unmothball the existing system. That wouldn't
Right.
meet code requirement.
Correct.
So those are the issues then.
Yeah.
And realistically, I don't know that this body is going to be able to help with that, but are you I mean, we could, I guess, do you have a number? Do you have a number? And
We do not have a number, however, our person that takes care of that stuff for us, Lee Perk, he is due back in town today, and he's going to start trying to put that kind of an estimate together. So we know where we're at as we move forward with these partnerships that we're talking about. And that's really my purpose for being here today, is really to say thank you and show the gratitude of what really is a partnership. As you heard earlier, Sparrows and Dark Corner got together and worked a deal to enhance the Sparrow event. So it's really with your help, we're able to put these people all together. We have, as you heard tonight with Dark Corner, visitors in 2025 from 45 different countries, or 45 different states and 5 different countries. And we are in talks right now with Dark Corner and Sparrow for long-term partnership. And I think working with you guys is what's really put us in this position to be able to do that. And we just want to show our gratitude for the effort that you guys are making for us in particular, but as that filters out through Carson City. And we are at the end of our season. I believe that it is a credible comment to say that we put north of 20,000 people through the prison in 2025.
yeah, I think, your comments are spot on. And I think a logical next step is to know what the number is. So if there's a way for us to help you,
Right.
or for the city or for the region to help in terms of donations or whatever the case may be. And I think the other comment I'll make, which I applaud you guys on, is the synergy that you develop by stacking these events and stacking these organizations, particularly ones that sort of have synergy together. Rockalaka Bang Bang, the already events that you had in there even before any of this, the supernatural events that happened overnight. To me, it's a natural extension.
So a part of all of that extension is the Cordelia Film Festival folks that we've been dealing with partly through you guys. Right now, at this very moment, we're making a film at the prison. I think they'll go till about 9 o'clock tonight or something like that, but just over and over and over, when we look at what we're doing, there is a correlation back to the CTA providing this service for the community.
I still think it's a great wedding venue. I think that's the next avenue you ought to, seriously, I think it's a great idea, seriously,
You know,
for a
when,
wedding venue. I probably will never be using it for that purpose again, but, yeah.
Well, don't count me out.
you know,
thanks.
You
interestingly.
never know with me.
Thanks, I'm not interested in that, thank you.
Early on, we had several inquiries about weddings there, and that's when we were having that certificate of occupation
issue,
permit
yeah.
problem and all of that, but we haven't heard anybody yet, but we
Well, I
certainly,
think if you push it, I really do think it would be, I mean, how many people can say they got married in seriously, a maximum security prison? I don't know that it would be for everybody, but we just had a conversation about counterculture stuff. And
Right.
certainly there's a group of people who would be attracted
well,
to
and,
something like that.
and the idea of like with Sparrows, having the tattoos within the
Yeah,
prison.
yeah.
Uh,
It's
that,
great.
that,
Yeah.
you know, there was people that had a little trouble getting set up because they had an equipment failure. And the people were like on one foot and the other foot waiting for that needle to get buzzing around so they could get their tattoo in prison.
Yeah, that's cool. One final question, maybe to CTA. Did we track room nights, or do we have any sense of whether we generated any room nights? Clearly, there's funds generated and brought into the community. I'm just curious about room
Specific
nights
to,
to the haunted house.
I'm gonna have to look Guinevere on that one to see, because we didn't, I don't think, unless I'm wrong, Stu, I don't think we did a specific survey for these guys. You kind of did your own
Yeah,
surveying in this
yeah.
case, so could you address that question?
Yeah, so this was all just an estimation on our part based on the zip codes of buyers and also just conversations that we had. We did have a lot of people who, or a decent amount of people who were already visiting and then decided to come by us. Or people that came specifically, honestly, we had people coming even specifically for the food truck and they didn't realize there was a haunted house. So there's a lot of that as well, but that data is coming from specifically zip codes of our ticket buyers and when they bought them.
So maybe,
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, maybe next year we could get a zip code breakdown. That would be kind of helpful and good information for us to have.
Okay, yeah.
And one final question for Mo. Is there anything that can be done about parking? Let's say we are able to expand and we're miraculously come up with some funds to add fire sprinkler systems. Is there something we can do about parking, or?
So we have to be very careful there because that area to the east of the existing parking where we added the 200 lots is actually a flood zone catch basin. Really should give a shout out to State Lands and Public Works for their lightning speed action in that regard. So, you know, if we get much bigger than it is now, we're talking about NEPA and FEMA and
Right.
all kinds
So
of
that
stuff.
might be a limiting factor. The only thing you might be able to do is add times and,
Right.
Right.
you know, because you'll never be able to, if I'm not mistaken, park down at the other prison, correct? I don't
No.
think there's much parking down there anyway.
There's not very much down
but-
there.
but
And
they're
you
not-
wouldn't want folks walking back and forth in
Yeah,
the
it's too
dark
far.
anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
I don't know, you might. Have them somewhere along
That
the
kind
way.
of takes care of, you can kill two birds with one stone on the transportation and the room nights. If you partner with some of the local hotels that could run shuttles every 45 minutes to an hour
Yeah, that's
in those
something.
blocks, and then if they have a group code, they can keep track of the room nights based on that also,
Yeah, that's a good
which is an
idea.
option.
What I had looked into earlier in the season before we thought we could even expand the parking lot, a shuttle system where people could park at Carson High School, which is down the street,
Mhm.
and we could shuttle back and forth. That is still something we consider, but even then, there's still a capacity limit in that parking
right.
lot.
Correct.
And we don't want to interfere with any of the student events
Yeah.
as well, so.
Yeah, we worked it out that way when we had a fish event out there, when NDOC had that whole parking lot covered up with They had a really weird visitor check-in system for a
remember, yeah.
while. And so we couldn't even use the parking lot. So Fish was shuttling folks out there.
Thank you. It's a great event. Thank you.
So the only other part of understanding who is visiting, we're finding out that a lot of folks, like Gwen said, they come here to visit and then they come out to the prison. Well, we're finding that whoever they're visiting here is buying the tickets rather than the person that came here. So we need to figure out a way to understand who came here to visit family and then came to the prison, because that'll,
Well,
we
we can-
can't capture those by just looking at zip codes.
No.
I'm happy to help you guys with drafting survey to get at that exact issue then, if that's good to know that. So I was going to follow up with some questions outside of the meeting just about data capture, but knowing that I can help with survey construct so we can get at that, because that's what I was afraid of, is it would show up as Carsonites purchasing tickets, but they had 3 or 4 family members
Right.
coming from California, and then you don't see it depending on how you ask the question. So it'd be definitely, yes, we can work, Stacy, to answer your first question about the data capture with you guys to craft something, or we can do it and send it out, or however you want to do it. But I think it'd be great, because this is a lot of people. And so from a sample size perspective, we can definitely take and apply that ratio back against the whole universe, because I think we'd have no problem getting.
And I don't say
400
that to
completes.
imply that there would be less support if there aren't room nights generated. It's just.
Right.
Because
right.
I think, I think we all see the benefit.
Yeah,
to-
for sure.
I think it's just good information for us to have.
Yep.
And
Well, with
it
the
is-
halfway to Halloween though, the numbers are, what percent, how much lower is the numbers on the halfway to Halloween?
I would say our max capacity, if we were to do the same sold out, would be about a fifth of what you're seeing in this total attendance, because this is across 5 weeks.
So if you're gonna do that, that gives us time to play with things and maybe try a couple things out. I mean, it's a good time to try to figure a couple things out, would be at the halfway to Halloween.
Yeah,
See
absolutely.
what
Yeah,
kind of help you get on that.
I know at least for the Preservation Society, we could take some direction on that, because very early on, we knew we wanted to capture what people were doing. So we tried a survey type arrangement. But I got to tell you, the people that were coming on our historical tours, we're not interested in a survey. I got to get in the prison, leave me alone.
The type of people we have attend, even at our haunted house, are definitely more the rowdy type of people who don't even want to sign the waiver. And we have to coerce into signing the waiver. So, yeah.
But it is interesting, we do use the zip code. And when we're checking people in and we see that the zip code is from out of town, we ask them, how'd you get here? How'd you hear about us? What's the deal? And it's amazing. We had people, I think they were from Wisconsin. They said, we've been trying to get tickets for 2 years. So it's like the prison is the destination rather than, well, we're going to Carson, so let's go to the prison too. Oftentimes, prison is the destination.
Yep.
And we found that from the paranormal folks that came over from Ireland. Prison was the destination.
Not to belabor this point a whole bunch, we still have Dave to give reports, and it's already past 5 o'clock, so I'd like to have dinner sometime tonight.
Public servant, man, you give it all.
A couple things. It's becoming clear to me that this is probably the main attraction, certainly in the top 3 attractions for Carson City. And moving forward in the future, how can we make this facility work for not only this event, which is an awesome event? I haven't jumped that high in years, and hopefully won't have to jump that high again. I think if you could figure out a shuttle program, Eagle Valley Middle School may be an option for you. That's right up the road as well. It's not far, and they have a lot of parking up there. That I think could be done. Maybe Stacy has some insight on this. Would having a fire truck from Carson City on site while you guys have your events at 17 days a week help assuage some of those fire marshal fears that the state has?
No.
No, because it's the after hours problem. I mean, during the event, we can post watchmen, that sort of thing, that are on site. It's after hours that becomes the problem.
It's the addition of things that are not germane to the prison that get put in, the decorations and that's what becomes the issue.
Okay.
I mean, it's a block and metal building, so if it's that alone, it's not that big, although I've been to fires in there plenty over the
Yeah.
years, but, yeah, no, it wouldn't matter.
Okay. And then last thing, I have an 11-year-old daughter, 10-year-old the year before, who begs me to go to this thing. If you could figure out a kid-friendly option that's still scary, it's still a haunted house, that would allow just maybe one night during the week or one time during the day to be able to make that happen, you would attract more families and sell more tickets.
I agree. We experimented with a family-friendly version in 2024 at our downtown location. We just didn't do it this year because it was our first year here. So, but that is definitely a comment that we've gotten multiple times. So definitely something we're looking into, of more family-friendly events that might not even be Halloween related, but something that we can help put on.
Well,
Great
really
job.
well
You guys doing a
done.
good job.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
and I will say, I know you guys are well thought out, because when I read the paper and read that one of your characters got attacked, someone went after him. And when I realized they had a safe word and all the other zombies attacked the person attacking him, I was like, that's just terrifying. But it's great.
It's interesting to read that and read, you could definitely tell what our staff said versus what the person who did the attacking said. But yeah, safety is our number one concern with everything, which is also why the fire thing's a concern for us. And even we did have some medical events, but we were able to, one of our medical events, we were able to get them help, get an ambulance on site and inside the prison within 13 minutes, which was incredible. So that's something that we really care about. Even though we're scary, but we scare because we care.
Bring him to the infirmary.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you so much. We do appreciate you taking the time, and
Yeah,
job
that-
well done.
Absolutely, thanks so
The
much.
first medical event was about 3 days after we opened the new fire station.
Really?
Thank you so
Great.
much.
Thank you. All right, next we're going to move on to item 13, monthly non-action items and presentations,
we
and I'll turn it
do
over to David.
12 first, Chair?
Did I miss? Yeah, I guess we'll let you talk, Dave. We'll go on to number 12, and I'll turn it over to Dave. I just knew Garrett wanted to go home and eat.
Well, I know. Can you bring him a sandwich or something? I mean, oh, Willigers. No, okay. I've got some tea here. I have a bar in the car, I think. Thank you, Chair. So I'll be brief on the 23-24 Car City visitor profile. Obviously, we're way late in the game on this. That did have to do with the way that the data set was run, and I won't get into all of that because it'll take me 10 minutes to explain the situation. But I'll just hit the highlights if that's okay with the board. So travel party spend per trip was up from our prior 2-year profile. I'm happy to say $1,670 versus $1,315. Our travel party size up incrementally 3.4 to 3.51. Ticked up a little bit on the length of stay from 2.0 to 2.1 nights. So just a couple of highlights on there. I'm not going to get into all the nuances of the sources because sourcing on travel planning and booking the travel are very similar. The percentages just sort of shift small amounts, like sub 1%. Friends and relatives, still leads the primary purpose is, to the VFR side of things, and then vacation, entertainment, road trip from there. One small shift, we did bump up a little bit on the designated market area of origin. So we were about 15.4% at the last 2-year profile. We're up to 19.1% for the Sac, Stockton, Modesto, LA, San Francisco swapped with Reno. And then interestingly enough, Denver pops up for us. So that usurped Phoenix from the prior 2-year profile. And again, we're sub 100 complete. So I'm just letting the board know, typically, from a statistical standpoint, we want to be at 100 completes, but this is managed panel data, so I'm comfortable, that we're sitting at 93 completes for this 2-year profile subset. So what else did I want to mention?
What is the time period? It says 23, 24. What is the specific?
Calendar year.
So it's
yeah,
all calendar year.
Yeah.
So
So
this is
for
all of 23, all of 24.
24, yeah, based on the sample size. And unfortunately, when you're getting into smaller destinations, it typically can take a couple of years worth of sample. In this case, I looked at a 3-year sample run. I just wasn't comfortable with that because it was including 22.
Right.
And you're coming out of the pandemic and it tinkers with the numbers a little bit. And so I felt like we should just kind of let 22 go at this point. So not big shifts, within the rest of the data on a 2-year to 2-year, again, percentage changes, just small percentages. And then I think the only thing I was going to say was we did drop a little bit on the younger audience side of this. So, for whatever reason, again, sample size, sample dynamics, we lost a little bit in that 25 to 44, so we'll keep an eye on that. But yeah, other than that, I mean, if there are specific questions, happy to answer any specific questions that the board may have. And hopefully, we won't be so late in the year next year with the profile information. So, but again, I do want to thank Mr. Scholes at the Department of Tourism and Cultural Affairs for running a particular profile just for us here on the county level. So, all right, if there are no questions with that, Chair, I'll go ahead and get into agenda item 13, which are our monthly non-action items for presentation and discussion only. 13A is my executive director update. Just a couple of quick items. Stacy knows this, obviously, by virtue of being on the Board of Supervisors. They appointed Mr. Matt Dodd, who's sitting at the back of the room, from the Gold Dust West to the board, and that will be effective on 12/21, and he will take over the spot that Member Bott currently occupies as our second hotel motel spot. So congratulations, for good or for bad, Matt. I don't know what you're getting into here. I'm not going to comment because I work for you guys, but I think it'll be a fun ride, so hopefully. But thank you for stepping up. I appreciate that. And then the second thing I just wanted to mention to the board, Stu and I are working on Exhibit A for calendar year 2026. Exhibit A is the piece of the puzzle that ties together with the interlocal agreement, the specific events that we endorse as the CTA that take place on or inside of the Carson City Parks Rec open space facilities. So right now, there's a lot of new stuff coming next year, and Stu was just regaling me with some things this morning, and I'm super pumped, super excited. We're doing that while Parks is also putting together their plan as well. So the hope is, I'm gonna be positive here that end of January, early February, we'll be able to get the full thing, Matt, for you being new, out to all of the hotel motels so they can start to work on capacity and all that good stuff with these events that are coming forward. But we have a lot of work between now and probably the second week of January, and Stu's busting his bottom right now. Obviously, Eric has some of the arts and culture related events, but there's some new things that I'm excited, that hopefully we'll be able to bring to you guys. I don't know about the January meeting. February meeting, is the goal, right, to share. But a lot of conversations are taking place right now, but there's a lot of interest. I'm super pumped about the fields at Centennial. We've got people coming out of the woodwork for softball. I say softball and baseball. Stu can correct me if I'm wrong, but bringing new tournaments here, with the turf fields coming. So I think right now our biggest challenge is dates. People want dates that are already occupied, right? And we only have so many weekends in any given month, so if you want to add something there, Stu, feel free.
Yeah, for the record, Stu Wexler is Carson City. Yeah, it's just a projection of when they're going to be completed. I think with the weather being the way it is, I think they're able to push on because they were counting in weather delays with snow and everything. And the way it's going now, they're still forecasting for right now, early April to be completed. So,
Is the Kennel Club on the list?
Absolutely.
Event? Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, all is well. I mean, I could try to bring that data set forward to you. it's like 100 pages long that shows where all the dogs came from and
No,
good Lord.
no, I don't. I mean,
Yeah.
you gave us a report, I think, on that.
We do. We
So,
high
yeah.
level collapsing about 100 pages of.
No,
of,
the only reason I asked is because of the issues that we had
yeah.
this time around, and just for whatever reason, there was some
Yes.
miscommunication there between the city and
Yes.
the event organizer. Just
I
want to make
do
sure
not
that was
believe that
addressed.
that will be the case next year.
Excellent.
Jen and I
Thank
have
you.
had a long conversation, and so I expect everything to go very smoothly for next year. Yeah, I think our only challenge is we're going to have 2, potentially 3 events on that same weekend, which is going to cripple us from a capacity issue. But we don't control, obviously, some of the events. We can't move them because of the way they schedule with the national organizations. So that's what we're also trying to work through right now with everybody to figure out timing of the RFQs for the host hotels and all that stuff and how to make it work. So we may need some overflow with our partners in the other DMOs. So yeah, but yes, definitely she is on the list and the event is good to go. So yeah. Any questions on either of those 2 items? Okay, thank you. With that, let's go ahead and move on to 13B, transient occupancy tax actual versus forecast. So that's the big sheet in the packet. I won't dwell on September, which was a nightmare. I do believe directly impacted, as I kind of alluded to last month, by the fields being down, no softball, no baseball, nothing going on. And after talking with some of the properties, that seems to be the biggest impact on the numbers for September. October, at least we're better. I did take October, if you recall, down, I don't know, -10, -12.5%. I think we're going to land somewhere closer to 5.5% down if you look at it on a year-over-year basis. So I'm glad that we bounced back from September. November, I left it again. Chris was helping me while I was out. We left it at flat relative to last November. So November over November, only because we had the special session, and I did have a conversation with some properties who seemed to do very well the first 13 days of the month because of the special session with all the lobbyists and all the folks coming in. I think that was impacted by the film bill and all that stuff. So we'll kind of see where things take us. Obviously, as we get a little closer, we're working with Jesse to figure out what's going on with the Home 2 Suites from an opening perspective and where that's going to land after the first of the year. So as we know a little bit more from Jesse and his team, I may or may not need to be reflecting that in January forward, just depending on the timing of the opening. But right now, in terms of our full year projection, we're projecting to come in a little over 2.3% behind what we budgeted, but we would be 1.22% if you go all the way to that last column, percent increase year over year. And so I don't want to make any other adjustments for now, but Chris and I will work on this before the January meeting based on any updated information that I'm able to get. So any questions on this particular report? Okay, well, see, Garrett, that was not a lot of talking on my part. Now you get to hear from the professionals, those that know all and tell some. So with that, let's get into 13C, events and sales update. Stu, maybe take it away.
Stu Wexler, Visit Carson City. So I am going to do a couple recaps since I missed the last couple of meetings due to shows that I've been going to. So we're going to start with the Ford Bronco Super Celebration that we had back in October. We had 120 registered participants that came from all over the country, 20 last minute in the last couple days that came for the 3-day event. And 65% of the vehicles were from outside of Nevada, the 50-mile radius, actually. And as far as away as Virginia, Minnesota, Montana, Tennessee, and just from various states around the West. And I believe David might have showed a video while I was gone on some of the states that they mentioned where they were coming from. So this was the 3rd year they were here. It is becoming bigger, it's becoming more recognized, and the convention itself, people are loving coming to Carson City, obviously staying overnight, eating and participating in everything they do off-road. They were from Tennessee, 40 vehicles that went to Prison Hill, and that has become the most popular off-roading event that they do during the celebrations days. And what's nice is they've actually been partnering with the Capitol Ford dealership as a sponsor, and they had the pony show after was held at the dealership. The dealership usually will have a kiosk there, and a lot of times they will actually raffle away a Bronco at the show as well. So with that exposure with the Capitol Ford dealership, that really gives credence to the Bronco Super Celebration. Any questions on that? You guys should actually, if you go on the prison ride hill, it's pretty amazing. And then we had the Capital City Crushers race at the NICA. This was the third year development of the high school, middle school from 6 to 12 throughout Northern California. This year, the race had 474 registered riders. According to NICA, that was a 19% growth over last year, and when they saw 40% growth over the first year. And they, again, had teams coming from Ely, Mammoth, Bishop for this year's race, with 75 riders from that area, along with, obviously, the family members that come with them. And they actually had about 1,200 spectators throughout the day coming on to watch this race. It's become very popular. And Carson actually, I believe, placed second in that. I'll have to check that for sure. But they're in the top three, our Carson team riders. So, and then I went to the teams show. This was in Columbus, Ohio. This is becoming really popular, especially with our environment for sports fields. I had 36 scheduled appointments, 4 no-shows, which we always have some no-shows at these conventions. And I've been following up, and there are about 10 organizations that are interested in bringing tournaments and events to Carson City. I'm actually working with an organization, Made for Hoops, for 2027, which is various student amateur basketball tournaments, which would be held at the MAC, obviously. And I'm working, I've already had some calls, Zoom calls with an organization I met there, World Trail Races. It's an organization out of Brazil. And what we are working on there, we're actually trying to bring them in for this summer. We're working on a certain date for 2026. And what they do, it's based in Brazil. And what they do, it's a running cycling race. So I'm trying to do it outside the scope of Stetna's, because I don't want to, but it is something I have been working with Parks and Rec and Open Space on. Scott Chapman from Parks and Rec was with me, joined me at the team show. So I worked with Greg, working with Scott. It would be something in the effect that, like we do with NICA, where it would start possibly at WNC and go through the trails, and then they would start with the running, and then they would start the cycling. So I just actually received the RFP from them right during Thanksgiving. So I'm working with Open Space on that, and we'll get back to them. Also, I'm working with Boulder Creek International, which is an organization out of the UK. They have a couple different organizations, venues that they do. One is World Darts Championship and the strongman competition. So they were looking to, and these are on the amateur level. So anything on the amateur level we do here. Anything that was on a stadium level, we'd work with Tahoe on the Blue Event Center, partner with them. So these are organizations, also 5x5 Soccer, another organization. So the teams organization is very interested in coming to Carson City. They actually are looking for some of the smaller venues. And they, after this second show, the second time we've been to this show, we're starting to see a couple of the same organizations that are very interested in coming to Carson. And like I said, World Trail Races, we're looking for this summer. The a couple of the others would be for 2027. And the next one, was there any questions on that, on the team shows at all? So right around October, we got invited by the RSCVA to do the Mexican Fam Tour. So they came down to Carson for the day. They did Reno, Tahoe, Virginia City. And so what we did for us here, we took them to the prison for half the morning. And there were 13 tour operators. They were here for a 3-day tour, Reno, Carson, and Tahoe, actually. So we took them to the Seven Grill, the new restaurant at the Federal. And then we had a 2-hour tour of the Nevada State Prison. And when we went to the prison, they actually had a lot of the decorations from the dark prison, the haunted. They were so intrigued by what they saw just walking around, and part of the tour, they were asking that when they come back, they want to see if they can do and see part of the haunted tours that they saw, because they had all kinds of decorations still up at the prison. So they were totally fascinated. They were fascinated by the prison itself, because a lot of them have never seen a facility like this, and they just had an incredible time. And the tour guy, I think his name was John, I think, he did an incredible job. Some of these people, the volunteers there, do an amazing job of the tour guides at the prison. Any questions? And then I went to the NTA in Ottawa, which is the National Tour Association. It was a smaller tour this year, I think, because it was in because it was in Canada, and maybe because of the political environment, possibly. But these were leading business association professionals and the tour operators from all around the world, tour companies. And I had 22 preset appointments, 2 that canceled, and then we had open networking. So I was able to meet with 5 companies during the free time with no preset appointments. And I would say that Reno Tahoe had a booth there, and we were kind of taking turns. And I can say that we have the American Bus Association coming up in January. We had more interest, more excitement of people coming to Reno for this show than I think they had going to Canada. So they are very excited, and a lot of the same tour operators that I met with are going to be at the ABA show. One for sure is Beyond Horizons, which is a new connection for me that I met at the NTA that's going to be at the ABA and wants to discuss further bringing some tours to Carson City. So I'll be meeting with him as well. And then there's some of the other sports leisure, which everyone knows, and then Making Memories, which we already had here last summer, that came from, that did a tour here, brought a group, stayed here for a few days based in Carson City, and then made their adventure days around the area, Tahoe, Virginia City, but they were based here in Carson for 3 nights. So they're looking to come back as well. And then what I was talking about, the road to Reno, is in January 10th to the 13th. We're actually doing a sightseeing tour here to Carson City. Right now, I think it's about 49, 50 people that will be on the bus. We're going to take them to, we have a private tour with the Nevada State Museum, and then we're going to take them to the Railroad Museum. And then we're going to take them to the hot springs just for a few minutes to get, because we don't have time. They're very strict of when they have to be back to Reno. I actually, when I wrote this, it was 45 requests for one-on-one appointments. To this day, now I have 70. I think the max is 75. 75. So I had 70. The schedule will come out later, I think, this week, confirming appointments. They actually extended it to this last Sunday, yesterday, to get the appointments in, right? So that is basically it. I did want to say that we do, when David was mentioning some of the events, we have something that hasn't been here for a long time on the Capitol Gun Range, the gun club. May is going to be a packed month, as David was mentioning. It's going to be one event after another. So what's happening with the gun club, they have new administration, new staffing there that are taking over. So in April, they're going to have the California Youth Shooting Association coming up. That's all about 140 shooters, all from California. That's just the shooters. And we're going to have that in April and May. And then this year, May 20th to the 24th is what David was referring to. We are having the Nevada State Clay Championship here, I think for the first time since 2017. You have 170 to 200 shooters that are going to be here. I just wanted to mention that because it hasn't been here for quite a few years. And it's going to be, they just got this bid. So I think that is going to bring a lot of heads and beds for sure. So that's it. Any questions? Let me know.
Any questions for Stu? Being a man of few words, I would summate this into two things: youth, amateur sports, and ABA is going to be huge for this region, right? Because they've never been past Salt Lake City in their 100-year history. It's the 100-year anniversary. We have a massive presence with thanks to Travel Nevada, thanks to the Reno Sparks Convention and Visitors Authority throughout the whole kit and caboodle for ABA. And Andrew's, he's been huge on this as well, just in his private capacity. So getting us on the map in front of, I don't know how many thousands of buyer suppliers, but I think it could be the biggest one potentially that they've had to date. So very big for us. So happy to be a part of that. All right, if there are no further questions on events and sales, let's go ahead and move on to 13D, Arts and Culture Update. Take it away, Master Brooks.
Eric Brooks, for the record. We're going to go over a few of the things that have happened over the last month. We talked a little bit about Silver State in the past, so this is an update from that. Over 40 painters, photographers, etc., that were able to come, including those from outside the region. They think 1,500 to 2,000 people came throughout the weekend. They were able to raise $11,000, and they've raised over $65,000 since 2016. And a heartfelt thank you from Christy and her team to us for our continued support. There's the new Dust and Wonder Art History Culture logo that was painstakingly birthed over the past 2 months. We're very happy that it is now here. The 501c3 has also been established. The board represents all three destinations, myself, A. Perry, and Brian Fitzgerald. Estepona Group is continuing to work on the website and in-web app build-out. Go on to the next slide, please.
Question. There'll be
Yep.
cross links between all the DMO's sites and this and right.
Correct. Nothing will duplicate, but everything will relate.
Yeah, and if I can just jump in for Eric for a second, we are not looking, just because this misnomer's been out there, we are not looking to replicate any of the DMO's websites. In fact, what we're going to be doing here from a digital perspective it doesn't exist, right? So this is going to be very different, some AI elements and components to it, but we're not looking to replicate any of the existing DMO websites. In fact, the idea is get them off once they want to learn more about a particular destination or do a booking or whatever the case may be. Get them off to the DMO's website. So this is. I mean, we're into this. The goal is end of May to have this digital platform up and running and live. If all goes according to plan between now and then. But yeah, no, you definitely, that's the whole idea. When you want to know more about Carson City, boom, you're right over to visitcarsoncity.com or visitcarsonvalley.com or, Virginia City Tourism NV.com. That's the idea there, Stacy. So yeah.
Great. There were 3 town hall meetings held throughout the 3 regions so that input could be put in towards how this Destin Wonder Trail will relate to the everyday person living here and the artists. One idea, as you will look to my right, there's going to be a public art element introduced to Carson City, which will begin, the contract will begin January 1st with artist Jeff Schomburg out of Reno. He will be creating 9 specific 4-foot spikes that will be placed around Carson City. We'll be informing the Historic Resource Committee of where those locations will be. We're working closely with city officials and historians of what those places and stories will be. And we'll have an update on that next month. All right, Silver and Snowflakes Friday. If you didn't make it, you missed out. If you love 5th graders and lights and horns, it was your night. Once again, the Brewery Arts Center took on another event and they knocked it out of the park. Valerie Moore and Spike, working with the community and city officials, were able to put on a great event. This year they included vendors off on Curry Street. It's the first year they've done that. Thankfully, the weather was beautiful and it was a huge turnout and a great success. So I was lucky enough to be in the Yucatan shortly after Mr. Giomi came back from the coast. And this was in a little town called Progresso, and I couldn't help but notice the little ways that they were integrating art into their everyday life. So this is the sidewalk. You can see the ocean in the background. So those waves were being simulated throughout the sidewalk, an artistic bench there as well. And it just made me think, we don't need to be continuing to make these giant monuments and putting up hundreds of murals around town. We can look at the really small areas, and this would be a conversation that we can continue as the VCC with city officials, civic leaders, and also developers of ways that we can integrate art into our everyday life, which might even be, we can get into all those details later. But it just made me think, we're always talking about these big things, and we can solo it down to these small things that make just as much effort in a person's life that's walking down the street, whether they live here or are visiting from somewhere else. Coming to a Mills Park near you, we can't say much right now, but in collaboration with the Potentialist Workshop and Brewery Arts Center, VCC is making nights in February a little brighter, making glow more glowier. And no, it's not the biggest light bulb in the world, although something big is in the works. There are 2 teases in this slide, and you can go home and think about what those 2 are. And we will have an update on both of those at next month's board meeting. Happy to introduce and to entertain any questions.
Any questions for Eric? Yeah, cool. Oh, look at that. What an overachiever. Bragging already. Wow. Thank you, sir. I'm looking forward to February, I'll tell you that right now. So I think it's going to blow the socks off people. All right, let's move on to 13. Where are we at? E? Marketing PR update. Lydia, take it away, please.
All right. I hope you're all hanging in there. I'm sorry, this is not my shortest presentation I had like last month.
This is a 45-minute,
but it is a fun
Garrett.
one. It is a fun one. So we'll go through just the kind of the basics as we always do. And then we've got some sneak peeks and some creative stuff that's happening. So our digital growth update for November, of course, there's always the numbers that I can show you, but what do those mean? That means that lodging referrals actually declined month over month. That was driven by decreases in organic search, direct, and paid search. However, our lodging referrals are up 35% year over year, which is really an exciting number to see. So that was supported by strong organic and paid search growth. Now, our decline in the lodging referrals month over month, we saw a 48% spike in our cost per click. So we think that's also the competitive season around Christmas, but we're also diving a little bit deeper to see if there's anything else that's influencing that. But people are finding our lodging properties and wanting to stay the night. So that's an exciting number to see, especially year over year. I think our winter campaign is helping a lot with that. Speaking of our winter campaign, the assets are performing exceptionally well across paid social, display, and online video. And it's driving strong referral volume and really benchmark beating engagement. So we're very excited to see how that's performing, and I'll have a little update on that after our public relations update. We had a really great November with some really strong publications that we were featured in. Via Magazine, which is AAA's travel publication, is always a win to be in. That gets mailed out in a magazine. Their online numbers are exceptional. So we were featured as 8 unexpected places to go for the holidays, which is a huge honor to be in for them. Wild Nevada also featured our Kit Carson Trail, and that episode aired in the Bay Area's PBS station in Monterey's. So we were very excited to see that in our target markets. And then nationwide, Stewart was featured pretty significantly in a national PBS special, which is pretty amazing. Also, USA Today's 10 Best includes Stewart Indian School Cultural Center and Museum in its list of must-visit Native American museums to celebrate culture, history, and more. And then The Remaining Native, which is the documentary that about Coos Stevens, also was featured and screened in multiple places, including locally at the Cordillera International Film Festival, and they did a screening at Stewart Indian School. And then we were also featured in Pride Journeys, which is an ongoing relationship that we have. It's an online LGBTQ travel outlet, and so they promoted the magical holiday events happening in the capital city. And then lastly, our multitude of arts and culture events attracted a lot of attention from regional outlets. Last presentation, I promised some photos from our Nevada Day content. And so I wanted to just showcase some of that, and then also send our condolences to Bobby Bean's family, who sat on the board of the Nevada Day board for 17 years. And so he just recently passed, and so we're very sorry to hear that, and send our condolences their way. And if anybody loved Nevada Day, it was him, clearly. So I hope some of these photos can kind of celebrate what this year's was like for him. We got some stunning photos from the air. Shelby Holte, our local content creator and photographer, went up in the balloon along with the journalist this year as a reminder. And this is one of the most colorful ones that we've gotten in the 7 years that I've been here. So hard to really capture in some of these smaller photos, but we got some really great stuff from the ground as well. All right, and then on to The Winter's Charm, which is obviously our winter campaign that we launched last year. We did a short film that was about 15 minutes long. That was a love letter to Carson City, and also a great way to make some really funny and engaging ads. And instead of doing an act 2, which would have been astronomically expensive to do 2 years in a row, we decided to just refresh some of our ads. And so we shot some extra scenes in early November, and we put our park ranger, the character Danielle, in the hot springs in a uniform, which ended up being really fun. And then we also did a pickup shot in the Nevada State Museum and shot some of our murals around town as well. We caught the murals in the last couple minutes of sunlight, and you can see what some of our carousel ads look like on paid social. And so these pickup shots are actually for what we're calling Act 3. We broke this campaign down into 3 acts. The first act was all about leading into Christmas. Act 2 was around Christmas. Act 3 was kind of around Christmas and into New Year's. And then Act 3 is basically everything from Valentine's Day on. And so we wanted to create more evergreen content that was outside of Christmas time so that we could run that a little bit longer. And then lastly, we've been talking about film a lot, and it's become a pretty woven into my job in the last few months, really, since that Casa Grande film came into Carson City, which filmed in February and March of this year. And so I wanted to provide some insight into why we're investing so much time into film and why we feel it's important. And I hope that you'll find them as interesting, these stats as interesting as I have. So for those of you who don't know, the Cordillera International Film Festival is held in the fall in Reno for the last 8 years. So that's run by Emily Skyle Golden, who is a powerhouse of film and was a huge part of helping write that film bill, and basically anything filming that happens in Northern Nevada, she's got a little bit of her hand in. She's part of the Reno Tahoe territory, so that's how we've been connected with her over the last few years. So it's been really interesting to see everything that she has going on and how she's roped us into it in the best ways. So I'm going to walk you through not why film matters for Carson City, not just creatively, but also economically and strategically. And we've seen how one production of a feature film can move the needle in Carson City. So this presentation is going to connect the dots between opportunity, some ROI, and then kind of what's next in the community for film. So part of the Coeur d'Alene International Film Festival, if you think of it as a triangle, there's the festival itself, and then Emily also has the Future Filmmakers Foundation, which she's trying to build industry professionals so that when films come here, we actually have people to work on a film set. And then the third part is the Film Northern Nevada Initiative, which is it's a nonprofit, it's a free service where she's basically providing free location scouting to all of these people who are looking to potentially film in Northern Nevada. So it's a bridge. It connects filmmakers with our local resources. It educates the region on production needs, and then also helps build the reputation Northern Nevada needs to compete with people who are looking to flee LA, which is happening quite significantly and frequently. But it also ensures that we're prepared. So from private partners or to public agencies, we're ready when opportunities arise, because when a film gets funded, it is days before they're looking for location and ready to film sometimes. We got a month with this last film, which is at the prison right now, and that was exponential lead time. Most of the time we have 2 weeks before we get the phone call of like, we need this and this and this and this, and then we're gonna be here at this time. And so the connections have to happen very quickly.
Can we say what that event is at the prison, or
It's a movie called Dustlands, and that's pretty much all we know.
a feature film?
It is a feature film. Yes, it's a feature film. Terrence Howard is in it and Ruby Rose. Those are the two major ones. And then if you're familiar with the Sniper series or Call of Duty, Chad Michael Collins is a pretty well-known name in that sphere as well.
Dust Lands, DUST Lands. You said?
It's a post-apocalypse film.
Cool.
Yes, and they've already filmed at Silver Saddle as well. So within the Film Northern Nevada Initiative, Carson City's role is being a key partner in that location side of things. So we are the boots on the ground support system for productions that are looking to bring their vision to life. So that role includes location scouting, connecting filmmakers to property owners or agencies, or mainly helping streamline that permitting puzzle, which Hope and her team has been just absolutely amazing at. So the second part of that is the Film Nevada Day that is part of the Coeur d'Alene Film Festival. So that is the last day of the festival where 100 filmmakers or industry professionals go on a tour that we highlight as, here's where we think are some amazing places to film in Northern Nevada, and we show that potential. And so that happens every year with the film festival. So the more seamless we can really make any kind of these processes, the more attractive Carson City becomes for future productions. So why does that matter? There's a lot that goes into that. There's a couple of different levels. So the clearest proof point in 2025 alone, these two feature films, Casa Grande and the one that is filming, delivered over 1,400 hotel room nights in Carson City. And so I like to think that we fought pretty hard to get them to stay in Carson City by providing really helpful services. And then also those films, not only in addition to the room nights that we're getting, spent about $115,000 on catering in Northern Nevada alone. Not all of those were in Carson City, but it was cool because on the Film Nevada Day, we got them to use Bella Vita Catering to showcase that we have catering options in Carson City. So just another way we can get Carson City in front of filmmakers. And then when you use the industry standard calculation, Emily got these numbers pulled and they estimated about $475,000 was injected to the local economy in Carson City from those productions. So it's not just PR and exposure about Carson City, it's actually a direct economic engine. So those are for, again, these two productions, one that's currently here and one that filmed earlier this year.
Have they announced when Casa Grande is coming out?
We haven't heard yet.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's going to be mid to maybe fall of 2026. It sounds like another production might have gotten put ahead of it, but it'll be out in 2026, I would imagine. But as soon as we know, we will let you know, because I think we'll have something will be happening in Northern Nevada to celebrate that. And then beyond the direct spending, film is elevating the region's long-term brand value. So it supports local crews, it stimulates ancillary businesses, it drives tourism, it reshapes the perception of what is Northern Nevada and just Nevada in general. And it positions Carson City as a place worth showcasing and worth visiting. Some astronomical numbers just came out from Expedia in their 2026 travel trend report. And so there's a new hot term called set jetting, where people are wanting to visit the places that they're seeing on screen. And so according to Expedia, 68% of travelers say film and TV influencer travel decisions. But within the Gen Z and millennials together, 81% plan to travel around on-screen locations. So that means every time a show or film captures Carson City landscapes, neighborhoods, historic sites, it's essentially nearly a globally distributed commercial that we didn't have to buy ourselves, which I think is pretty cool. And we have the aesthetics that you want. I mean, what more could you want from being not only near Lake Tahoe, but we're authentic, we're scenic, we're cinematic, and we're really approachable. I don't think I have to sell you guys on Carson City, but what we're looking for here, and the photos that you see on your screen now are actually from a scouting day that we did. They heavily were interested in Carson City. Silver Saddle Ranch for Dustlands was a huge draw, and they had a really great filming day there too, and at the prison, and they were looking for a downtown. We even brought them out way past Carson City, Carson River Canyon open space to some of the old mills that were there for that post-apocalypse film. So our partnership with Cordillera and the Film Northern Nevada Initiative just guarantees that we stay on our radar. And then the Film Nevada Day is obviously one of the strongest visibility tools that this Dustlands film is a direct result of someone coming on the Film Northern Nevada Day tour. So my involvement in helping plan that has been really valuable. And the more the industry gets to experience Carson City, the more responses we seem to get. So the Film Nevada Day tour is really a conversation tool. It sparks real production opportunities. There's been 2 or 3 things that have happened already, even just from the last 2 years of the tour. I've really had only involvement this last year. But we helped, Eric and I also helped when they came out to the prison to speak and talk about how we had changed the film permitting process and helped facilitate that with the city. Hope came with us and spoke. And so it's just been an incredible tool. So I wanted to give you an idea of kind of what that looks like. So this year's Film Nevada Day tour started in Virginia City. We took them on the V&T down to Carson City, took them for ice cream social at Scoops in McFadden Plaza. So they got to experience downtown and drive through downtown. And then we bused them up to Sand Harbor for a lunch. So what a cool day. I also coordinated, and a huge thanks to the team that did that, but we had horseback riders, about 8 of them, riding next to the train as they came into the V&T to get that real cowboy experience, and it was really, really fun. So here's... So with that, Cordillera and SIF and Emily and the Film Northern Nevada Initiative are really doing the heavy lifting to bring visibility to our region. And so I feel like it's our responsibility to make sure that Carson City is ready to receive that opportunity and maximize on it. So film is coming, I think, whether we like it or not. So I'd rather be prepared and welcome it with open arms, especially since it is so heavily influenced in tourism. So lastly, this is how we're going to continue to prepare for more film. We're going to continue to build out the Film CC webpage with more more location galleries, resource guides, contact pathways, anything that we can help make that last minute nature of film easy as can be. And the Nevada Film Office just redid their whole website, so we have to upload all of our locations into there. So Zach is working on that diligently. We're gonna help enhance some of our location photography, just because sometimes you just feel like the prettiest places are where they want to go, and sometimes that's the last place they want to go. So, and then keep continuing to strengthen that on the ground support. Continue to participate in the Film Northern Nevada Day initiative and the Film Nevada Day tour, and then continue to develop set-generating content and itineraries on our webpage as well, and then continue to prepare Carson City if that film bill happens to come back around. That's it. Thank you very much.
I know it's, may I, sorry. I know that it's pretty close to the session where the bill did not pass, but have you had any discussions about its potential negative impact?
Not a lot. There was a lot. That's a loaded question. We're definitely not prepared infrastructure-wise with the crew and the staffing, because a lot of that bill is like 50% of your crew has to be local to Northern Nevada. That was just one small stipulation for some of that. And that's part of if you're going to take Emily's free services, that's also part of the requirements that she has, is that you have 2 interns that get to be on set so they can learn and grow. And then 50% has to be, if you're going to take any tax incentive in Northern Nevada, has to be Nevada crew.
In Nevada, not necessarily Northern
Exactly.
Nevada, but anywhere.
Exactly, yes. So that's been a struggle for a long time, and it's more affordable to film here, I think, whether you're using the tax incentive or not for some of these. And so, yeah, there's a lot of things that could be negative, could be monumentally positive, but
There
we'll
were,
see.
I mean, I know there was a huge debate about the bill in the legislature, and I guess that one of the concerns I had, not that it matters to this group, but if it passes, if we end up pricing ourselves out of the market, I mean, I kind of wonder if some of the attraction to them coming here is that we are underdeveloped. Does that make sense in a way?
It definitely
I mean,
is. You're not wrong.
The concern I sort of have is that, that bill passes and we become a hotspot, and it loses that sort of charm component that they are often looking for and can't get in an overdeveloped sort of way. And I'm not in that industry. I don't know if that makes sense or not. to
No, it
them,
does.
but,
It does. I think a lot of people also have thought in that same wavelength. I think a lot of the brunt of that would have happened in Vegas, where they were going to build that studio. And so I think that would have definitely changed that area and that landscape. And I think we would have seen some really nice ancillary things come off of that, but it definitely would have been probably a lot at once. But
Thank you.
we shall see.
I brought this up before. I'll bring it up again because I think if we're going to plan for this for Nevada Day for 2026, and I think we should do our own documentary about Nevada Day that's well done, that we produce, that we put a RFP out for, and have that done on the 250th anniversary of America for Nevada Day in October of 2026. That could very well be easily done. I'd love to see that on a future agenda.
Yes. I was thinking about that from our last meeting. And if you don't know, there's a documentary coming out on PBS on December 19th about the U.S. Capitol Christmas tree that I believe Carson City will at minimum be mentioned for the Christmas tree skirts that were made here at the community center. So be on the lookout for that if you want to take a look at that. But the producer of that film has been a great partner for us too, because he also produces the Wild Nevada in Vegas. And I had him in mind when you had mentioned that. And so when I talk to him next, hopefully I can plant the seed and see if there's any interest. I've never put out an RFP to have a documentary done. But we'll give it a go. We'll see what happens. Well, I'll do the research to figure out what it's going to take to be able to pull that off.
Yep.
And I'll report back.
I think it's similar to having Mario Lopez in town. You get a chance to be able to use that media in a lot of different ways, in 3 different acts and 4
Mhm.
different acts, however you want to split that out. But it's not just a one standalone documentary. You get to use that in a lot of different media assets in a lot of different ways.
I agree.
A great suggestion. Any other questions for Lydia? I would just say it's great work, Lydia. And Zach, obviously helping too behind the scenes with some of this. stuff. I
Yes,
think it's
gosh,
just
I'm sorry.
fantastic.
I should have mentioned that
Yeah, no,
tenfold.
no, no,
Yes,
totally
thank you.
okay. You know, and on the V&T side of things, we're just almost there with all the phases of the brand new website, and one piece of that puzzle is filming, right? So this Film Nevada Day, they asked for the train. It was Tom Gray was in his glory. I mean, this is something that he's been wanting to do for
I
I
can't
don't
thank
know
him
how
enough.
many years. So he
He-
was awesome.
He got a DeLorean to come in front of the
Yeah.
train.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
pulled out all the stops because the diesel engine was actually in Back to the Future 3. And so he
Yep.
pulled it out. He
And
was
the
excited.
idea is keep the filming here. Let's not have to get 4, 5, 6, 18-wheelers and ship this stuff all over the country. Let's film it right here, in northern Nevada, right? And so I think this was a really cool opportunity. I think everybody took full advantage of it, from my perspective. And when I spoke with the folks during the Film Nevada Day, we're so, outside of being such a cool downtown authentic destination, like our geography, we're right in the middle of everybody else. So it makes perfect
biggest
sense for
stuff.
these folks to stay here and then go out and shoot, film, and blah, blah, and do all
Yeah.
this, that, and the other thing. So
And if I may,
Yeah.
Emily had even mentioned Top Gun Maverick stayed in Carson City. They had some nights that they stayed here. Every film that's been around, the Mustang that was at the prison, they all had some nights in Carson City due to our proximity alone. So it's really interesting to see. Like it just keeps coming at us, and so I just don't see it going away, especially since this film bill kind of opened the doors to getting more feature films here.
Well, getting connected to that group, especially for location scouting, is the key because they will, they will reach out to that person if they have had good experience, and the connection is there. Once you establish a connection, I think it multiplies itself.
I agree, and the prison just continues to be a beacon for interest, and so we're grateful that they are on board.
I did speak to one of them, and he said I called Lydia. He said as soon as I called Lydia, she put me in touch with Cordillera. My catering was taken care of, my permits were taken care of, my extras were taken care of, and it all came from one phone call to Lydia. And he said so much was off my plate, and
Well, that's
good
kind
job
of
on
you.
that. Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
Emily is a lot of that. I just pride myself in being a connector of people, and so I think this is a fun way to be able to.
Yeah, but it's
also
nice
benefit-
giving that one phone call
Yeah.
and everything's done. And my hat's off to you for
Thank
that.
you.
I mean, good
Appreciate
job.
that.
So you're thankful that she has her own mobile device.
Yeah.
Okay, so that started with me. So that's great. I'm taking more credit for stuff around here
I
now.
only had to call her once. You, it's 3 times.
Well, that's only because I'm ignoring you the first times because I don't know what you want to talk about. It makes me nervous. This is
Thank
this
you.
is opportunities are abound here, guys. On
They
the
are.
film side of things. So I want to build our digital assets out, as Lydia mentioned. I think this is great. And working this into our tourism efforts, our campaign efforts, I think is going to be fantastic. Virginia City Tourism Commission is also working. I don't know where they're at, but they're working on building out a filming style section on their website as well. So we've got the troops are working on this. And Stacy, to your point, the city has been amazing. So
Yeah.
working with Hope and her team, making the permitting process so easy. That was a world of difference, just getting all these folks together, in a room and working that out. So the collaboration is definitely there.
A lot of us we're really pushing on the board, I think most of us individually, for some form of economic development head or a point of contact.
Yeah,
And this could fit into that certainly because
easily.
there's a it's nice to be able to go to someone and say, here's what I want to do. Can you help me? Not with the technical component of it, not with what the code says,
Yeah,
but with navigating the process. Because that's where people need help, not,
they do.
the technical part of it you find people for, but
And Lydia's like serving in that
navigating-
capacity
Correct.
right
I
now.
agree. Like
Which is a lot. to
the
ask.
way I look at it is sort of like an ombudsman.
Yes,
Someone who's there to advocate on behalf of the person, but
Yeah.
understands the process and how things fuddle and, where the lanes go.
If one phone call can take out 5 steps.
Yeah, huge. It's
You're
huge.
in. It's
huge.
everything.
We can extend that as a city
Absolutely.
to development,
Oh my God, yeah.
and business. It's a huge step.
These people remember that, if I could just say anything, the ease of access, working with hotels, I'm looking at Matt in the back, getting our properties, I don't know what the term is, Lydia, so I'm probably going to misspeak, but like pre-approved. God dang it, I had it on the tip of my tongue, but almost like go-to, like, these are ready to work with you and work on, what is the term, Lydia, the rates and the stuff that they have to do with the production stuff, but
I mean, it's interesting to understand, and Emily has walked me through it, and sometimes it's 2 or 3 times, but like when they get the set budget, like given that you're working within a union, like there are line item budgets that you cannot exceed at all. And so when they have this much for lodging for their crew, they're set on, they can't go above a $99 rate. And so if we have partners in our hotels that can, and Andrew has worked in his professional capacity, understanding this too, if they understand the long-term value of them being able to probably come back, because I think Dustlands, this is his second film that he's done here, even at the prison, that same producer. So there was a smaller film called, I'll let you know the name, The Real Ones,
Real
that he
Ones.
just did.
Yeah.
And so we've even seen smaller movies that we're slowly piecing together that, so I'll put together a list, but yeah, we're just seeing more and more and more and more. And then we're also just seeing like, we really genuinely can't go above a $99 rate. And so we're having a hard time also working and trying to explain that to our hoteliers, but we're slowly getting there. And so we're trying to create some like partner hotels that understand the value and are willing to work with them on that zone.
yeah.
So that we can get them to stay here in Carson City.
And I mean, Chair Reno's been awesome here, guys, just so you know. I mean, in his capacity, up in Sparks, he has these connections with these folks as well, and he has been helping to secure, these films here in Carson City and rooms and setting aside, personal, to really see
I
Carson
just
City.
say call Lydia.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's been your go-to, so the job can get done more efficiently, I think is what you can't say. But yeah, no, so this is good for Carson City, you guys. It's good for this whole region, but I feel like we're very well positioned as a go-to film location and, working on this rates thing. Yes, and I want to say tiers, but I have it on the tip of my tongue, but I can't get the words out of my mouth. But anyway, we're going to keep working through this with these folks so they understand, there's a expectation on rates and things of that nature moving forward and what our properties can and can't do, and, hopefully trying to get a little bit ahead of things rather than after the fact, but yeah, good stuff on the filming side of things, I would say. So any other questions for Lydia on marketing PR? Okay, super, nice work. Let's move on to 13F, future agenda items. Would the board like anything on a future agenda?
Just what I said previously of discussion on a request for proposal for a documentary for Nevada Day.
Understood. Okay, anything else? All right, thank you, Garrett, for that. 13G, upcoming meetings, right here, this building, January 12th, 4 p.m. All right, and with that, I'll turn it back over to the chair.
Okay, next we will open it up. I just want to start out by saying today is Board of Directors Damon Batt. This is his last meeting, and we want to thank you, Damon, for the time you have put in, and let you know we do appreciate you. And
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. It's been an honor to serve and, get insights into, the industry in general. And as we kind of, get more involved ourselves in the business, like it's been really great and very helpful. It's been a pleasure working with everyone.
Thank you, Damon. Appreciate you. Anybody else have any announcements?
Yeah, I just want to mention that the Board of Supervisors at our, it was the last meeting or the meeting before, I think it was a meeting before, approved the Centennial Park Master Plan. So some of the elements of that, as you know, already underway. I mean, the tennis courts were completed. We are in the process of completing the restrooms for the tennis courts and the fields, of course, as we all know, through CTA's efforts. But the full master plan is complete. Did a couple of tweaks, and I think the next area we focus on is that lower area and adding it as a third venue for for sports fields. If you are interested in the plan, it's on our website, on the agenda. Like I said, I think it was a meeting before last. You know, it's a pretty high price tag. I think it's in the neighborhood of $40 million for the whole shebang. So, you know, we're not writing a check for it tomorrow, but the city's been very successful with Stimplema money, and as you know, we got money from Mills Park, and you know, I think we can build on that and hopefully, you know, make something happen. But that's of interest to this group, particularly from the sports field side of things.
I just want to say, though, with the new fields going in real quick, that I am getting calls from Northern California sports organizations to come up to Carson City. They're asking me when a forecast estimate time frame is when they're going to be completed. So we are known. It's getting known around the whole region that we are getting fields. So they're very, Northern California organizations are very excited about that.
We're also doing some, we have funding in the budget. The design plan is nearly done for, it's not glamorous, but it's a drainage plan. So, you know, to protect the fields, and we have in the past had some washouts, and so we're looking at a drainage plan, not looking at one. They're going to go to bid on one. So that's in the works too.
Anyone else? Good. Next, I will open it up for public comment.
Chair, I just wanted to, I just want to say thank you, Member Bott, for your time on the board. Appreciated working with you. So thank you on behalf of myself and the team.
Thank you. Thank you, David.
Okay, with that, we are adjourned. Garrett can go home and eat dinner.